found is that the House believes that living in the countryside is better than living in the city. We now call upon the Prime Minister to start off this debate. Hear, hear.
Am I audible?
Yes.
So, my name is Hanyu. I'll be the Prime Minister for today, and I'm really happy and thankful for everybody here listening to us to be able to start off our model debate. So, with that all said, my timer starts now. When I say the word city, what do you imagine? For me, it's a place that is boring, tedious, and a place that you need to be on time, always on time. A place that you can't even have like good air. A place that you can't even have sunlight. And why should the opposition side debate for a place like this? So, as a Prime Minister, I strongly believe that living in the countryside is better than living in the city. So I have two reasons to support my ideas. But before that, definitions. We define that countryside is not a place that is so far from a city that you need like airplanes to go to city. But actually what we say by countryside is like suburban areas or places a little further than suburban areas. Like maybe Chiba from Tokyo or somewhere like that. And a place that you can reasonably go to like the city, but it's not really near. So that's our definition of a countryside. And now I'm going to move on to my points. I have 2 points. Firstly, countryside have better nature than cities. So as a countryside, as a girl that I grew up in countryside, and when I was little, I was like able to touch with flowers, grasses, and trees, mountains, the oceans. All of those natures are in countryside, not in cities. In the cities, the water is polluted, the sea is polluted, there are no trees to be seen. And why can the opposition defend a world like this? And also, even plus to that, the experiences I've learned in the countryside is such a thing that I think I can remember for my whole life. So for example, like I can remember thousands of hundreds of names of grass and flowers that actually made me be good at biology classes. Elderly people can also benefit from living in a city, in a countryside, because elderly people need like natures. They need like good air to like live their elderly lives, and they need elderly people need like the good nature, the trees, the breeze, the birds chirping around when you're like wake up in the morning, right? So I think that it's a place that is both good for elderly people and children. And now you might ask, like, how about the salary mass? How about like the ordinary people that might be sitting here right now? So now I'm moving on to my second argument, which is that cities' schedules are too tight for like people that might have like easily have stress. So as you can, who rode the train here? I think that most people rode the trains, and if they got a minute late, they can't ride the trains here. They can't be here right now because the schedule is too tight. In this city, like we have to live every day in a pattern that is the same every day over and over again without anything that is fun or something that is amazing in your life. And even that, you have to be on the schedule of the whole city, and you can't be like yourself because you need to follow everything in the city. However, if we compare this to countryside, we can probably know that in the countryside there's nothing that are putting you like on the tracks. There's nothing that makes you like act like in every second, every minute. And yeah, so what I want to say is that like people who like live in cities will gradually get stressed because of this, because like they have to live in a line. They have to walk in the same way their other people living in the city have to. So conclusion. So both countryside have two good things. Firstly, nature, and secondly, they don't have like a right track for you to go on. Countryside will make you feel good in nature. They can educate you about like a lot of things, not only natural things, but also so much other things that you won't forget your life. And secondly, countryside do not have something that you need to follow, something that you have to, like, you will get like kicked out if you didn't follow, right? So I think that for all these reasons, countryside are so much better than the city, and there's no point of like defending a city that is both tedious and boring for like living your life, right? So for all these reasons, proud to propose. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Prime Minister, for the wonderful speech. We now call upon the Leader of Opposition to deliver their speech within 3 minutes. Hear, hear.
Hello, am I audible?
Can you try speaking one more time?
Am I audible?
Your mic.
Hello? So, hello, I am the first speaker of opposition side. I'm gonna start my speech now. Hello, I am the first speaker of opposition side. As opposition side, I strongly do not believe that this house believes that living in the countryside is better than living in the city. Before I explain my reason, I will explain the difference of the city and the country. The difference is that there are more people in the city. Next, on to my arguments. My argument is that the city is more convenient. There will be good transportation, hospitals, etc. So you can feel safe even there is an emergency. Why is this good? This is good because not feeling safe will make you terrifying and scary. With this, you cannot relax. You cannot relax when you cannot feel safe, right? Think of it. You are not safe. Can you relax? No. To make people comfortable, relaxing, and safe, we should not take this motion. No, thank you. Also, there are less. There are many people in the. Since there are many people in the city, less people are looking at you. When you're a little amount of people, lots of people is gonna look at you. With this, we can say that you can be the one that you want to be, and if we did not take this motion. In the city, okay.
I think it's the opposite because in the city there will be more people looking at you.
Okay, for this, there may be more people looking at you. This is not true because since there are less people that you can look at. And since there are a lot of people, you can, even if you can see only a little people, you cannot watch all people. So we can say that less people are gonna look at you because it's not everyone. If a little amount of people look at you, you can feel free and be the one that you want to. This will make you also comfortable and relaxing. You will not need to be the one that people want you to be. That is why, as an opposition side, I strongly believe I strongly do not believe that this house believes that living in the countryside is better than living in the city. Thank you.
Thank you, Leader of Opposition, for the wonderful speech. We now call upon the Member of Government to deliver their speech for 3 minutes. Here you go.
Okay. Hello, my name is Sentaro Masuda, and representing Hirogakuen, and today I'm going to be the second speaker of the government side in this debate. So I'd like to first start off by giving some points of contention on the House, while also, of course, expanding on our points that our first speaker mentioned. So on some rebuttals, the opposition mentioned how living in the city is more convenient in terms of examples such as hospitals and transportation. However, in these countryside, we never mentioned how that these countryside do not have hospitals. However, though we do agree that these countrysides do not have as much hospitals as these cities. As these cities, then there's clearly going to be a difference. But even if there were to be only one hospital in those countrysides, as they defined earlier, these countrysides have less people and less of a population compared to these cities. So, I feel that it's pretty considerate to only have one rather than multiple. So, I guess in a convenience sense, example. And on the other hand, they also mentioned the example on transportation and how they have trains and things. But in these countrysides, you don't need that much transportation because, you can have cars. So, that's pretty nice. And, So, a new point is that a countryside is better because it also has a sense of community. And since there's less people, we have more connections, and which is something that's really impossible in Tokyo due to the difference in population. So people will have more sense of responsibility of helping for the community, while also a sense of helping each other. So that's something we can never see in cities. So that's pretty nice. I'm pretty proud to propose, and we clearly yield the better in this debate. Thank you.
Thank you, Member of Government, for the wonderful speech. We now call upon the Member of Opposition to deliver their speech within 3 minutes. Hear, hear.
That was great. Yeah, we have cars. We have cars. Yeah, we have cars.
Oh, yeah, we have cars. Yeah, countryside, of course.
Of course.
Am I eyeball? Okay, so I would like to start my speech. This house believes that living in the city is better than living in the countryside. But first, I would like to rebut to the opposition, the government side. They said that the countryside doesn't mean that the countryside is full of nature and blue skies, but the countryside doesn't mean that it is clean. This is because the countryside is not clean in every place. For example, in Ibaraki, there are still lots of factories and cars running everywhere. There are, of course, roads, and it is still contaminated with lots of CO2 and greenhouse gases. So it doesn't really mean that it's really clean compared to the city. Now, I would like to move on to my speech. And I would like to add to Elo's speech this time. So the countryside has a lower population, and the city buzzes with lots of buildings and people everywhere. Because of this, we can really be ourselves and release our real identity without being embarrassed or ashamed of ourselves. If there are lots of people, the less they concentrate on you. In contrast, if it was the countryside, the population is low, meaning it will be easier for someone to stand out. This makes it harder to release or be proud of their own identity. For example, simply people bully or are violent is someone who stands out from everyone else. If they can release their identity without sorry, no thank you, they will be able to be proud of themselves. Releasing their identity is important because it helps us mentally. Hiding ourselves the whole time can be stressful for many people. Increasing stress can negatively impact one's mental health, which leads to diseases such as depression and many other illnesses. In summary, this is why this house strongly believes that living in the countryside, living in a city is better than living in the countryside.
Thank you, member of opposition. We now call upon the leader of opposition reply speaker to start their speech. Hear, hear.
I'm going to be using the phone as a timer. Okay. I think you guys can hear me. Starting my speech in 3, 2, 1. Okay, so first off, I'd like to start off with some rebuttals to the proposition side. Number one, the PM has mentioned that in cities, they mentioned that the definition of a city is like suburban areas, so not at all like countryside, like that are like all nature and such. Okay, so even though they've said that suburban areas, which like Chiba, I guess, they said suburban areas, right? But then they tried to add in the point that it's like, oh, it's the nature is so much better in the countryside, right? But let's be honest here, a city in like Tokyo or in Chiba, they're around this, yeah, what is considered a countryside, right? But they're around the same, like nature-wise, Chiba is not that great than Tokyo. They have the same amount of parks. So the point about the nature being so much better that it makes such an impact is wrong. And number two, they talked about the elderly people getting, would get benefits because they have good air and such, but that's not true because they themselves contradicted themselves. The MG stated that they don't need transportation because you have cars. The cars release a lot of green gases, and so the quote-unquote good air that the elderly people will benefit from is not at all existed. Number three, the city is too tight for like the regular people. The city schedule is too tight so that people would have a lot of stress having to be on time like every single day. That's not true at all. I think the definition is where they messed up. They said suburban areas, right? So not that much different from Tokyo, like I mentioned before. So the trains, if you miss one train, it's the same whether you miss a train in Tokyo or whether you miss a train in Chiba. The Japanese train systems are very like they go on time no matter what city you're in. So the example they give up of trains being so tight that if you miss one, they're not going to be there is in every single place. Especially if you're in Japan, then that's for every single prefecture, countryside, or city. Okay, and then I think the main two clash points of this debate was whether connections were a good thing, and number two about mental health. So number one, the connections. The MJ stated that having more connections means that you have a sense of responsibility. Whereas on our side, we said that, oh, this sense of responsibility, this sense of having to fit in a community will make it so that you can't express yourself the way you want to. And if you're in a city, since no one will remember you, there's too many people, no one will remember you. You will have more courage to be yourself and have your own personality. Okay, and why this is why on our side. Like instead of having the sense of responsibility, finding your own self is so much better. Well, number one, if we're talking about success here, if you're always being held down, tied down to people, then you're never going to able to be have like your own success. You're never going to able to chase your own happiness because you're always going to have to think, oh, is my actions going to hurt the people in my community? You always have to think that, which is why if we're talking success, most successful people have to like leave their they don't have to leave, but they can't be the ones caring about every single person's opinion. So if you if you go to the city, you will have much more sense of self, which would mean that you would have more success, which is why our point is superior. And number two, about I think
mental health. They talked about how, in the city everything's so tight and everything has to be perfect, whereas in the countryside you can be a little bit more relaxed. That's not true at all, because the points they gave up about you have to be in the train is like you have to do that for everything, number one, and about nature. Yeah, you guys, I don't think really should have said the countryside, because the nature in the countryside versus Tokyo is not that much different. And so whether we're talking about mental health, none of their points are credible. And on our side, because you can be yourself, because you can find your own happiness, your mental health would be exponentially better. Okay, because of those 2 points, we deserve to win this debate. Thank you.
Thank you, Leader of Opposition Reply Speaker. We now call upon the final speaker of this debate to close this debate. Hear, hear.
Am I audible? Yes. Hello, I'm Yuri Yamamoto. I'm the government side, and I'm going to say the reply speech. I'm going to explain why our side has won for this round. First, the government side said that there are more nature in the countryside. I think that if we weigh this with the opposition side's opinion, this is more important. Why I thought like this is that it would affect to your school grades. For example, by the nature in the countryside, we can learn names of trees and flowers. This would lead to get good grades in science exams. In addition, the Prime Minister said that the schedule is very tight in the city. This opinion is also important. I would explain this by using the long and short-term effect. So if you live in the countryside, you can learn more about nature. So in the long term, you can get good grades in science, which also helps you in the future. So if you have a good grades in science, then maybe in your future you can have more works, like more work of science. So I think that living in nature, living in the countryside will help you understand more about nature. The opposition side said that the countryside is full of nature, but it does not mean that everywhere is clean compared to the city. However, I think that this is not actually so unique. It is true that in the city there are more vehicles, so we can also rebut to the government side that there are more cars and less trees, so there are more dirty air in the city. In conclusion, So I think that the LOR of the government side is not saying the truth, because there is a difference between cities and the countryside. Also, our side has said that countryside is a place further than suburbs, so I think that in conclusion, our side has won for this round. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Prime Minister Reply Speaker, for closing the debate. We have come to the end of the debate, so I'll take a couple of minutes to think about my decision.
いや、なんかもう決まりましたね。いや